When when did you say that your entire EP comes out?
Friday, March 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just instrumental so far, just kind of what I've been doing the past year. I didn't start recording anything till like last March during the pandemic. My one buddy, Max, gave me his old laptop and was like, something to do right now because we had to be inside. So, as everyone's saying, releasing stuff now is like, oh, I've just been doing something. It's coming out March 5th, Friday, which happens to be my mom's birthday, which was kind of cute.
That is
Yeah, so it's like, ah, two birds with one stone. But yeah, definitely strange to actually be talking about it because it's been something that I've like, oh, I'll do something soon, and now it's actually here.
yeah, so you started over the pandemic then?
Yeah, I mean, like I've been playing guitar since I got my first guitar when I was like 8 or 9. Played for a couple years, and then thought I was a jock. Decided to do sports. Realized sports suck, and came back to it in high school, like at the end. But I never really got into many bands or anything, and as soon as I've been feeling competent, pandemic happened, so I was like, guess I'll do it on my own. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, it seems a lot easier to do recorded work rather than live performing. So,
Yes, I would say from the couple shows I've played, there's a lot less stress to recording alone, and you can actually get a cohesive like song out of it because it's one person. But if you try writing stuff in a group, it can be chaotic if you don't have like an order to how things are done.
yeah, I've watched a lot of my friends go through that where they had band members go in and out because they just couldn't agree on things.
It's always egos. It's there's always like that's why I hate being a guitarist. It's because every guitarist has a huge fucking ego, and it pisses me off a lot. Because like they're like, oh look at me, I can do the pentatonic scale. I'm the lead guitarist now, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I just want to play, man. Can we make some music?
Yeah,
Bassists and drummers are usually pretty cool.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, they're a lot easier and kind of like I feel like I'm a guitarist that knows my place and many don't. They try to do everything, whereas like bassists and drummers are like, I'm gonna keep a beat, I'm gonna do something funky, and just kind of vibe in the corner here, which I love. I'm a big fan of the rhythm section.
Cool. Have you worked with any other instruments or just guitar?
I got a bass a couple of years ago out of just. Do you know Royal Blood?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, that's basically why I got a bass because I'm like, oh, it's a guitar. No, it's a bass. So I bought a bass for that. Kind of did that whole thing and got a drum set this summer because I'm from State College. So like I just would go home and play it because it's hard to find a spot to put a drum set if you're
Yeah.
downtown. Yeah. So I've been messing around with that a bit and it's fun. It's nice. It's a lot easier after having programmed drums to like realize it's all just if you just do quarter notes and kick snare at the right time, you can sound competent. But it's a lot like to think about if you haven't processed it because it's a lot of limbs going on.
Yeah, it
I
is.
don't know how people do it.
I've watched my friends do mixing and recording, and it's just like I'm not sure how they get all of these drum loops and snares and everything else together to make it sound good.
Yeah, I have never recorded drums and I have no plans on it. That's one of those things like anytime I watch like a band showing how they recorded, they're like, "Oh, we put the mics here for this song and then moved them like 6 inches that way," and I'm like, "No, no, I can't do that. I don't have the patience for that."
So, where do you usually practice? Do you just always practice at home, or do you go to your do you have any bandmates' houses?
I mean, like my one friend Max is also from town. We've been friends since God knows how long, basically as long as we've existed. And he made beats and stuff and rapped because that was cool in high school. And then he expanded and did a lot more and kind of tagged me along on the whole making music side rather than I'd be like, here's a riff, and he would be like, cool. Where are you gonna go with this? And I'd be like, I don't know. So he's the one I've worked with the most, I'd say. We've done some stuff together, but still working that out. I just kind of have this because I've had time on my hands, and a lot of what I've done is very much solo. I've been in bands here and there and just kind of filling in as a guitarist as needed. But yeah, usually egos break it up pretty quick.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Session musicians do make a lot if you ever go into that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine doing that for a living. It's not the worst thing. I would just like to do my own music if I have a choice.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, it's a little scary though, but it's definitely like a lot of time filling, and I'd rather play stuff for me rather than someone being like, "I want you to do this." A lot less contained.
Right.
Yeah,
Do you see doing music as a career in the future, or is it just a passion project for you?
that's a huge debate right now.
Okay.
Because I engineering's fine, but music's just a lot of fun, and I'm realizing I know more than I probably do because I've been playing for like 8, 9 years, where it's a little bit of time, and I'm like, oh, maybe I do know something. So coming to terms with a lot of that, and I was hoping to like when I started this in March, I was like, yo, this fall we'll be back, and I can try to get some live shows, but I got another year because like it's tough to gauge your own music unless there's a crowd. Like, because people will just tell you it's nice all the time. They're like, "Oh, that's neat," but like, if there's a crowd, you get an answer real fast without any words. That I'm waiting to get the response to my music with, and that's going to be a huge thing. I would like to do it as a full time career, is my point, but
Yeah,
there's a lot that goes into that, and
absolutely. There's no money on Spotify, so
no, just promotion, which is a start.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, Spotify's something. All right.
Yeah.
Not a fan. I still use it, but I'm not a fan. Yeah.
I noticed you had a sample in one of your songs on SoundCloud.
Mhm.
Is it on SoundCloud because you couldn't clear the sample, or is it on SoundCloud just because you prefer SoundCloud?
Um, that sample was just I'm trying to remember where I found it from, but like that was like the first song I was like, oh, I'll just use a little voice recording, and hearing someone call it a sample was like, I mean, I guess that is,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's fun to mess around because it allows me to put something that's not just music, and I haven't cleared it. So I'm hoping Spotify won't
Yeah.
notice that because it's like a 1 second clip. I figured it might be short enough to squeeze by, but we're gonna wait and see on that.
Normally they don't unless it's
Yeah,
noticeable, so
yeah. As long as I feel like it's not like a top 100 song, they probably don't care. That's just my hope.
never know.
Yeah.
So when you're composing your tracks, like Disconnect, what kind of feeling or state of mind are you experiencing when you work on that?
it's it changes. It depends on the song. Like sometimes I'm pissed off and have nothing else to do, so I've written a couple like that. Like the one song, I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think it's the one called Alone because I'm bad at naming things. I just pick a word and go with it. But it's usually a lot of just, I'm bored. This is a cool riff. And then after I go through it, I'm like, I guess this is what I've been feeling this whole time. And I haven't been able to process my emotions until I hear the outcome where I'm like, maybe I was sad today.
Music is a great outlet
It
for
is.
mental health, especially now.
Oh yeah, it's there's been a lot. I mean, like everyone's been through a lot this past year finding themselves, but like that is playing your own stuff is a lot different than playing other stuff because it's like a personal emotion. Like I used to just play a lot of like metal because I'm like, oh, I hit a lot of notes. It's cool and fun. But like that's one, it's always angry, and I used to be an angry boy, so that helps. But like writing your own stuff is like it comes out of you. Like you don't expect it till I look back. which is strange. Yeah.
It really does. But it's interesting to see how other people take from that because a lot of times they don't feel the same emotion when they listen to what you've made.
Mm. Yeah, that was one of my favorite things. I don't do you know the band the Black Pumas?
Yes, I do actually.
Yeah, I only know it because I watch like Austin City Limits with my family with them. And the one guy, the lead singer, was talking about like their hit single, and he's like, every time I hear this song, I just imagine myself when I made it in my underwear in a hotel room at 2 in the morning, and everyone else listens to it and is like having a great time. But every time I sing it, I just think about that night I was just making a song at 2 in the morning, and that is probably one of the most accurate things I've heard. Because like everyone takes something different out of it, which is still something I'm coming to terms with on my own.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
any form of writing or composing is always usually taken a different way than the
Yeah,
the artist meant it.
yeah, it's I'm still like, because this was just something I did to pass time, not super seriously, and hearing like people actually taking it serious. It's still like I'm still coming to terms with that as like an artist, because I'm like I just don't like the whole pretentiousness to it that comes with it. But there's a lot that goes into it. Is the other thing that I don't even realize everything I've put into it.
I mean, it's not pretentious to consider yourself an artist, so
It just that's when the ego takes over.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I just look at. I feel like I have to especially not have an ego as a guitarist, given like Eddie Van Halen, people like that that are like super full of themselves. A lot of guitarists are, especially bad guitarists. That's my favorite. Or the guys that can't play but like buy a guitar because they're like, I'm gonna get chicks, and then they're like, oh, this is hard, and it's like, yeah, it's an instrument. It's not Guitar Hero. Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, I when I listen to a lot of the stuff that people from State College and just smaller bands put out, it's not always that interesting and it doesn't have a lot of depth at times,
Yeah.
but with the songs that I heard from your SoundCloud and the one that you just put out, Hectic,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot more depth and a lot more emotion.
Thank
Per
you.
It made me feel like I was back on the bus during, like, an overcast day listening to Placebo and being really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree. That's the one thing. I think that's a lot of what I'm digesting is how sad I was this past year. Obviously, everyone is, but like basically the whole point of this was just kind of throwing everything I had out and a lot of like videos, random stuff I've taken, which a lot of it's naturey themed because I was outside a lot because the summer was nice. And there wasn't much else. But yeah, it's definitely that's probably a way I guess I've coped with this looking back, and I hope that I can keep whatever I put out sincere as possible. Like